Good morning. It's 9 o'clock in Tuolumne County. On behalf of the board, I'd like to wish everyone a Happy New Year. I'm going to call the January 3rd Board of Supervisors in Tuolumne County meeting to order. And would you please follow Supervisor Gray in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, this is the time in our agenda for oral communications. The public may speak on any item that is not on the printed agenda. No action may be taken by the board at this time. Is there any public comment? Please come up. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, Chairman. Good morning, Supervisors. My name is Peter Schimmelfennig. I'm a resident of Tuolumne County, and I reside over in Don Pedro. In November, your board, the Planning Commission, I should say, voted against the approval of a Dollar General development, a proposal that would bring in a 9,100 square foot retail business. The community of Don Pedro is overdue for this development and can support two markets. Mind if I pass something out for you?
Not at all.
Thank you. This is a site map that came from your package from last month that came out at the community meeting for the Planning Commission. The location of the site development would be commercially located zone located next door to an existing retail gas, grocery, and hardware store known as the Don Pedro Market. That market consists of two buildings, approximately 7,900 square feet. It's the two adjacent buildings to the site development plan. It rests on 3 acres. Now, the picture you're looking at shows first of all, it does have an error in it in that Don Pedro Market is the square at the top of the picture. The second square down it says TC Realty. That used to be Tri-County Realty. Now, Tri-County has vacated that building, and that entire building is also used by the Don Pedro Market. The lumber store has always operated in the back 2/3 of that. There are 2 vacant retail shops that are both vacant, and the current owners use that probably for bookkeeping and whatnot. The larger square to the bottom shows a proposed building for Dollar General. Now, the 2 buildings that Don Pedro Market is in total 7,900 feet. The proposed building for Dollar General is 9,100 square feet. These buildings, they're kind of the same. I thought when I first heard this proposal coming in that this was a David and Goliath story. It was a small local store being overrun by some corporate chain, and it wouldn't be a good thing. And that is kind of how so many of the residents down there feel that way. And I don't think that they've had all of the information. So what we have is a total of, when these 2 businesses open side by side, you'll have a total of 17,000 square feet, grocery, retail, lumber, operating on the same metric. Now, that sounds like a lot, so let's move on. I've got a sheet here. This is an ad. Work on this end, Mr. Pedro. This is an ad that just came out in the local Foothill Express newspaper. Now, it is put on by the Friends Embracing Don Pedro's Future because it is the Friends of Don Pedro's Future that are embracing this change and this growth. These are simply quotes taken from an online petition where local residents are asked to go on and put their comments down about how they feel about the market. They can put their name in or not. They can put their address in or not. I've passed this out to you because I encourage you, in the green square that I've squared here, that is the website. I would encourage you to go on and read some of the comments that people are posting. And these are not anything other than the public's chance to post a little bit of what they think. But there are 4 themes that seem to come out in over 200 comments that are online. High food costs, possibility of gouging, a dirty store, not healthy, poor perishable food quality. Now, this is our local store. We don't have another store up there, and this is what's come out of what the perception is after this store, which has been there for almost 30 years. It's been under the new ownership for just 8 years. I've been here for long enough to realize that I haven't heard these kind of comments until it changed hands, and it's been rolling forward. Number 4 on the theme that is online is the commute out of town to shop. The vast majority of the people, you and me, we all want to stretch out our consumer dollars. So what do? We hop in our car and we go someplace where we can get the best bang for our buck. That doesn't exist in Don Pedro. We have to hop in our car and go 30 miles, 40 miles. 29 miles if we want to spend our money in our beloved Tuolumne County. 40 miles.
Excuse me, sir. We do have a 15-minute time limit on the public.
How am I doing?
Well, you may not be the only speaker, so.
Oh, okay.
Can you
okay. I'll speed it up.
Thank you.
I'll speed it up. Okay, so now you've got a place to go online and see more of what our folks are thinking about. I'm back to our agency handout package. The owner of the Don Pedro Market went in and published, put these words out that said he's been in market for over 30 years. This committee can't support a store because it's only got 3,000. It's only got 3,000 people in it. I'll quickly pass out a statistic for a very close comparison that we have that's happening right in our backyard here. The community of Greeley Hill is 16 miles away from Don Pedro. At the intersection of Holtzel Road and Highway 132 in Greeley Hill, there sits 2 retail markets face-to-face, side-by-side. The Greeley Hill Market itself is 12,000 square feet, 14 to 17 employees. Across the street is a True Value Hardware. It's also a grocery store, and it has a hardware. It's 5,200 square feet. Those 2 markets have been going face-to-face in a population that only has 960 people in it. They've been doing it for 20 years. We got a business over there that says that they can't have a neighbor come in that's almost the same size as them and can't do business. They're afraid they're going to go out of business. I think it's just the opposite. I think that competition is going to fix some of the quality problems that are there, and there is 3 times the population in Don Pedro. I think it's going to support for everybody. 3 times the population, it's got to go. Finally, in the very back, our own Planning Commission Board wrote out that the American economy is based on free enterprise. I'm cutting this short, which allows all businesses to compete with each other for customers in response to supply and demand. If we can't recognize that we have a situation where the incumbent store is opposing natural forces of the market by creating a situation where they have refused to sign a new lease, they have let everybody know they're month to month, and if the store comes in, they're going to cancel. In other words, they're holding the vast majority of our population at some kind of situation where it would be disadvantageous for the locals to not do anything but back them. I find that to be absolutely un-American. Please, I encourage you guys. You've already let 2 in here. We have seen that Soulsbyville and the Jamestown stores have not upset the community. They've helped the community. There's a certain amount of people in Don Pedro, just like down here, that can't afford to pay $4.99 for a gallon of milk. That's what it costs over there. I appreciate your time. I thank you for your wisdom. I look forward to seeing you again in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you for coming, and thank you for your comments. Anyone else for public comment? Okay. Would the clerk of the board please read the consent calendar?
Minutes of the meeting held December 20th, 2016, accepting the clerk of the Board of Supervisors 2016 annual report and board appointment advisory boards, committees, and commissions. Adopting a resolution authorizing the county tax collector to conduct a public auction of tax defaulted properties. Adopting a resolution authorizing the Sonora Sunrise Rotary to close a section of Highway 120 near Chinese Camp for their 32nd annual Orient Express Foot Race. Approving the resignation of James Kirk from the Columbia Cemetery District effective January 14th, 2017, and directing the clerk to send a letter of appreciation and post a notice of vacancy. And approving the reappointment of Dick Southern and Bob Asquith to the Tuolumne County Transportation Council Citizen Advisory Committee as District 3 and 4 representatives for terms to expire on August 31st, 2019 and July 31st, 2020, respectively.
Okay, any board member want to pull anything? Supervisor Handbelt? Okay, item 2 will be pulled and considered separately. Any other polls? Any public comments on items 1 and 3 through 6? Okay, seeing none, bring it back to the board for a motion on items 1 and 3 through 6.
So move.
Okay, got a motion
Second.
by Supervisor Gray and a second by Supervisor Brennan. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained, 5-0. Would the clerk please reread item number 2?
Consideration of accepting the clerk of the Board of Supervisors 2016 annual report and board appointment, advisory board, committees, and commissions.
Supervisor Handbelt?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, looking at this, and I just want to point out one of the things that kind of took me back and says we got some work to do, and that is if I just point to the Behavioral Health Advisory Board, and I'm just picking that out because it's early on the list, it's a very large board. It has 2 sitting members whose terms have expired, and it has 8 private citizen positions that are vacant. That kind of thing permeates this. That just happens to be an early outstanding example. It's incumbent upon us as board members to try and see if we can't fill those vacancies, either reaffirm or replace the people whose terms have, by mandate or by rule here, have expired. And and it's a message I'd like to make to the public, wherever they might be, that in fact there are a lot of positions. If you want to get active in government, in your local government, a lot of positions available. You can find a place, and we'd love to have you do that. It's an important role. So with that, I'm going to move we approve the report, but just give the board and everybody a challenge.
Okay.
Second.
I've got a motion by Supervisor Handbelt and a second by Supervisor Gray. Before I take the vote, is there any public comment? Okay, I'll bring it back to the board. I do have one comment. I would like to echo Supervisor Handbelt's comments. One of the things that normally I'm try very much to do is when people leave boards or get reappointed for boards, make sure that the public knows how much we appreciate the work of the people that are on our various boards and committees and commissions, and encourage more people to get involved. It is a way to be a participant in your local government. So with that, Supervisor Brennan.
Yeah, and I just really appreciate that comment, but want to encourage people, if they're going to make the commitment to be on the board, that they show up and participate, because we have had issues where just being a name on a piece of paper makes it very difficult to do business. And so while I too encourage participation and hope people will come forward, we really need to have candidates that want to participate and be at these meetings.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? 5-0. Will the clerk of the board read? First of all, I will recess the Board of Supervisors and reconvene the Tuolumne County Public Power Agency. Will the clerk of the board please read item number 7?
It is consideration of approving revisions to the Tuolumne Public Power Agency rules and regulations.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Kathleen Half,
Deputy Director for Tuolumne Public Power Agency. And back in September, on the 14th, we had a member meeting to discuss the budget. We were at a crucial point in our TPPA life, I guess you could say, where we ran out of the rate stabilization funds, and we had to make some decisions. So in that meeting, we made we brought up several points that are reflected in the rules and regulations that are before you, and I'd like to read those. It was recommended that we don't take any more money out of unrestricted fund balance to create another rate stabilization fund. So we would leave the rate stabilization fund for now at 0. And then to help remediate any unforeseen occurrences that may happen during the middle of a budget, we would like to reestablish something that we did at some point ago and add a contingency line item starting with next year's budget. And the contingency line item would be for $100,000. And this is mainly because when we do our budgeting, I'm doing the budgeting in April, May, and we're on our fiscal year, but Western Area Power and CalISO are on a federal fiscal year. And so sometimes when they finalize their budget, our budget is long closed and we've been operating. And that's when we have some problems. So this $100,000 line item, of course, would take your approval to use. And it will be part of the budget if you approve every year starting next fiscal year. And then the last thing to really help would be setting an absolute floor of the unrestricted fund balance. And those are reflected in the new budgeting policy that's in these rules and regulations. And there were some other changes that are more administrative that you can find on page 2. But I wanted to take the time now just to ask if there are any questions about what we've put down.
Just one question. Is the $50,000 that you have in here as the absolute floor adequate? Should we?
Okay. There is a $50,000 figure in there, but it is on top of 3 months' worth of what is expected in our bills. Like, let's say, monthly right now, our bills are about $250,000. So times 3, that's $750,000 plus an additional $50,000. That makes an $800,000 floor.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Do you have more?
No, that
Okay.
was...
Public comment? I didn't know if you were just pausing to get questions or whether...
those are the major changes.
Okay.
So those are the ones I wanted to make sure everybody understood.
So you're looking for us to approve the changes?
Yes, please.
Okay. Bring it back to the board. Any comments or motion? Okay. I have a motion by Supervisor Royce.
Second.
Second by Supervisor Gray. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Okay, that the Tuolumne County Public Power Agency is recessed, and I'm going to reconvene the Board of Supervisors. Thank you very much. Yes, please read item number 8.
Consideration of adopting a resolution continuing the local state of emergency as required by the California Emergency Services Act, Article 14, Section 8630C, due to drought conditions.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Happy New Year.
So I guess we dodged a bullet this weekend.
Yeah, it didn't quite get as cold as we thought it was going to get, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, it is a good thing.
Ethan Billigmeyer, County Administrator's Office, Office of Emergency Services. Here today before you to request a continuation of local drought emergency. Just as an update, on December 31st, both Shelley Hance and Jeff Mankey, both of ATCA, have retired their positions. Jeff was our water tank installer. In the interim, Mr. McConnell, who does our water delivery, is going to be doing both the water delivery and the water tank installs and uninstalls until an RFP can be put out for Mr. Mankey's services. I just learned that actually Mr. Mankey is going to be continuing to work under Mr. McConnell's license, so he will continue to help with water tank installs and uninstalls. So although we are going to be losing him eventually for the interim, we'll still have him around, which will be very nice because he's been with the program since the beginning and he knows the ins and outs very well. As I said, there's going to be an RFP that's going to be developed both not only for Mr. Mankey's position services, but also ATCA feels that they need to at least put out an RFP to the water hauler services as well. I believe there are 4 companies in Tuolumne County that do have the proper licensure to do potable water hauling, and to make sure that things stay fair and even, they would like to put that out to bid. So they are working on getting that out. And so that will be for the water hauling services. In terms of trying to figure out how the wells are doing, we've decided that ATCA is going to be sending out a letter to residents that have a water tank, and we're going to be asking them after their next delivery of water, we're going to be asking them to switch over to their well. And we're going to be doing that to basically see which wells are doing well and which ones are not. So it's a little redundant. So the idea behind that is that they'll have a full tank of water there ready to go in case things get bad again. But we really would like to try to encourage folks, especially now that we've got some weather here and we've got some groundwater, I think, to really start using their well. A lot of residents they actually prefer to be on their well than get the water. And for those residents, we do have about 12 tanks that we've identified that are ready for potential removal. 4 of those for sure, they've been connected to TUD. And the other 7 have been using their well successfully for a period of months. So we're fairly confident that their wells are holding up enough to where we can probably safely remove those water tanks. The residents feel that way as well. So we're going to send out that letter. ACCA is going to send out that letter, and we're going to try to see how these wells do. And if they continue to do well, then we can start looking at hopefully taking off some of these tanks. Mr. McConnell has graciously offered up some of his property to store some of the tanks at, which will be nice because when he can recycle them and use them for other residences should they have any wells that fail. And then lastly, the cord stent project. I did receive an update from Jennifer Batt, the TUD engineer, and they are on schedule. It looks like early March of 2017 the project will be completed. Mozingo has 3 crews in the area now, so they are actually going down and starting to cut in the lines from the actual main line to the meter box in front of the residents' homes on Dutch Mine Road. And with that ends my presentation. Have any questions?
Okay. Do we have any idea how many of the people out in that stent area that are going to be physically able to hook up are going to avail themselves of that opportunity?
Right now, there's about, I believe there's close to 50 residents that have had submitted deposits. So they've actually given a monetary kind of handshake that they're going to connect when that pipeline comes out. Okay. We're still trying to get the CDBG lateral funding to help those folks with their private line connections. However, that process has proven to be very arduous and slow. So Ms. Riggs and I will be talking with Terry Cox, our CDBG contractor, to kind of find out how we can push this forward.
Do we anticipate ultimate success and it's just an administrative issue, or is there a real potential of not getting the funding?
I think it's going to be successful. I think that the trick is going to be lining up the funding for when the project is ending, so those 2 funding streams line up.
Okay.
That's going to be the trick.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Well, good work. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any public comment? Hopefully, it'll keep raining for the 15 days it's supposed to,
Yeah.
right? And snow. Bring it back to the board.
Chairman, I move we continue the local state of emergency due to drought conditions and imminent threat of disaster, and hope it snows.
I'll second that.
Okay. I've got a motion by Supervisor Gray and a second by Supervisor Handbelt to continue the state of emergency. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Thank you, Ethan. Item number 9, please.
Consideration of adopting a resolution continuing the local state of emergency as required by the California Emergency Services Act, Article 14, Section 8630C, due to pervasive tree mortality.
You know, I think all of us are going to rejoice the day that you two don't ever have to come back before us again. Go ahead, Ms. Riggs.
Thank you. Tracy Riggs, County Administrator's Office and Office of Emergency Services. This item before you today is to consider renewing the proclamation for tree mortality. Thankfully, we have many projects that we have completed. There's many more underway. Unfortunately, we have a lot farther to go, as you all know. So in the memo, we explained some of the projects that have already been completed. Those are some of the facility projects. We had some in Groveland and some over here on the Highway 108 in Columbia area. Those were completed. And we've been working with CAL FIRE inmate crews. They've been going in and chipping and cleaning those different project areas up. That saves a tremendous amount of funding, as you can imagine. Otherwise, the contractors would be asked to do that. So very thankful for CAL FIRE, and you may or may not know Barry Rudolph has come back. He's been brought in as a tree mortality actual project coordinator for Tuolumne County. We're very thankful to see his face again. And Jeff Sanders, of course, is who runs the baseline crews, has been fantastic, and thankful that they continue to participate with us. So the other areas that Bellevue Elementary School, you may remember we were alerted from their superintendent that they had some trees that they were concerned about may fall on the playground and or our roads. We went up there, assessed them. Again, Jeff Sanders and our project coordinator, Mike Albrecht, went up. We did identify some trees that we needed to remove. Those have been taken care of, and then we have worked with the superintendent to help her and her board get CDAA, the California Disaster Assistance Act funding, because there are some trees that are their responsibility. And again, Jeff Sanders with CAL FIRE is working with them to see what work they can do and then what it is that they need to contract out. I also, Ethan and I think we had let you know, we did go back to the superintendents last month to explain the process to them, what it is we can do and what their responsibility is, gave them all the forms, the application, and so they're all informed again, and more of them are noticing it than what they did the year before when we came in. Some of the current projects that we're working on right now, Miwok Village, you see that we did put that out for a proposal, and it was awarded to Nate's Tree Service. They are underway right now, and what Mike Albrecht sent us in this morning, about 60% complete. However, the weather we're thankful for it, but they're delayed now, and so they're not working right now, but they're hoping they'll be able to pick up by next week. The other one that future projects we're looking at in which the Registered Professional Foresters and Arborists have been out marking is up in the Cedar Ridge area, and they are thinking that should be complete by the end of this week. And we have had a few questions, and when we do, Chris Trott will go back up there. He's been the one identified to go up there and help in that area, and they've, again, really big help up there. And then we are looking at future projects of Ponderosa Hills, Tuolumne Road North, and Middle Camp. We are reaching out to those homeowners, and we have additional help in our office right now, which is very, very helpful, in which we can make those phone calls. When we have less than 60%, our goal, of course, is to get everyone up there to participate. If they don't, we want to make sure that we have fully informed everyone there what we can do for them, and really that it's at no cost to them for the work that we're doing. Now, as you know, we have a road agreement with the U.S. Forest Service. We have been in the process of amending that agreement. So Duke York and Ethan and I and Mike have been working with Beth Martinez and Dave Horak with the Forest Service. Unfortunately, the road agreement that was amended was the one that's like from 1970s, and it didn't have all of the roads that we now need in that agreement. So that's what we're amending, is the list of roads. Duke York provided a list of all of those roads, and those will be, once that is amended, we can start those projects. And the first one we're looking at is Ferretti Road. So we're hoping to get there quickly.
Just a comment on Ferretti Road, the east end, we had some pretty good sized trees come down here in the last week. They got pushed out of the way. I think the county road crew pushed them, but there is a lot of them that are just right next to the road right there.
Okay. We're hoping to get there soon. We did reach out. Sorry, Supervisor Brennan.
No, I was just going to suggest or say that I had heard the same comments about South Fork Road also.
Okay. Unfortunately, with this weather, we are very concerned.
Doesn't snow in Groveland. We
It does-
didn't get any snow, so
Oh,
no excuse.
except for the wet ground and the
No snow.
no snow.
It's the banana belt of Tuolumne County.
You got a chainsaw?
Well, we're hoping to get up there fairly soon, and Scott, who, as you know, is acting supervisor for the Stanislaus National Forest, is working with us as well. So hopefully we get that through fairly soon. The other one, as you know, we're also getting ready to send out another 1,600 letters to the greater Twain-Hart area. This will take us over 8,000 right of entry letters that have been sent out since we started. It's a lot of letters. It's a lot of tracking, and it's exciting to get the projects going, but as you know, there's a lot of process involved to get there, and we're getting there. The other one, the CAL FIRE grant. Ethan has been working on a program outline and application, and we will bring that to you on January 17th. We're looking for your input so that if needed, we can bring it back again on the 3rd for final approval. They are expecting that we will be able to begin expending on February 15th, so we're trying to have everything in line so we can move quickly on that. And then just so you're aware, we're also going to be doing a tree mortality project workshop, or just tree mortality workshop, and that will be the first Saturday in March at the fairgrounds. We'll be advertising that. We will have all of the agencies that are on the task force in there. So we'll have CAL FIRE, PG&E, U.S. Forest Service, TUD will be there, Twain-Hart CSD, any of the fire departments. Everyone will be there so that we can answer questions. And instead of presentations, it will literally be a workshop. We will have tables all around there with representatives from each of those agencies. And then at that time, we will have the tree mortality SRA grants ready to go, and we'll be able to discuss those with people and have them fill out the applications if they would like to proceed with that. So with that being said, I think we continue to have the request for qualifications on the website for the D49 contractors and the licensed timber operators. So as different companies become aware, or they feel like they have the ability to take on extra work, the last one I believe was the Sierra Mountain Construction. I think was the last one that came on, and they've gone through the process and they're now on there. But if anyone wants a list of who is qualified, they can just call us and we'll let them know. The website, I do encourage anyone who is wondering where the county is at or other agencies, we put that information on the website. Ethan updates that on a weekly basis. I do encourage people to look at it. We let them know what are the projects that have closed, what are the current projects, and who was awarded that contract. So if they see, for example, in Miwok, if you see Nate's Tree Service pulling in, if they were to go to our website, they would know that that's a county contractor. We're happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
Just a quick comment.
Okay.
And thank you. Comprehensive report as always. But with the change in administration, I don't think we have been talking about the federal declaration for a couple of months because the state of California was not overly hopeful that they would get it with the previous administration. I'm just wondering if there is a time and an opportunity in the very near future to start reaching out to Congressman McClintock and revisit that with the new federal representation that will be there. If there isn't an opportunity, we shouldn't be considering that. So.
I would go to all the congressmen that represent the foothill counties. I
Well,
think that would
The tree mortality task force, I'm sure we'll be discussing that in our next meeting. I believe we have a meeting on Friday, which is a coordination meeting. We have the county meeting on Monday morning and then the formal meeting in the afternoon. Let us take it up with them, and we'll report back.
Okay.
And then the other piece would be that this is really a Western States issue, and NACO
It
might
is.
be a vehicle
Okay.
also.
Okay. I'll try and get that on the agenda real quick.
So for the federal proclamation, just keep in mind, it was discussed last task force meeting at the Capitol, and we still face the same issue that we as counties face. In order for us to have a proclamation
Funding.
approved and received, you have to show you're outside your resources. We are still the only county, it's us and TUD, who have submitted for any reimbursement request even after a year. Until FEMA sees that California is really outside their ability to meet their own resources, it's going to be difficult. But they are talking about it. They're still gathering information. Thankfully, when they look at that, they look at not just what is CDAA, but as you all know, locally, we have expended more than what is eligible. All of your time, my time, Duke York's, all of the CRA, and other agencies, that we are able to tie dollar amounts to that and submit it, and it's all considered. So it's not just CDAA, but they've been working with each county to gather that type of information.
Okay.
Well, and I would hope with the federal declaration, I'm still really worried about our private property owners that don't have resources. And with that, we might see some more vehicles through USDA. And so not just looking at government-owned, but for our private property owners also.
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm going to take public comment.
Mr. Chairman, if I could,
Mr. Pedro.
if I could throw something in here. Your board has been very good about pointing out the tremendous efforts of everyone involved in this tree mortality response. And I intended to mention this last time, but it's also very nice to know that those actions are noticed at the statewide level. And for those that were not aware of it, Tracy Riggs is going to be recognized by Ken Pemlott, the director of CAL FIRE, to receive a prestigious recognition for her efforts in emergency services, both the tree mortality efforts, both locally and statewide. So that's going to happen next week.
Well deserved.
And
I
now
was
she's embarrassed and turning red.
She is. I was going to make a comment before we voted anyway, so I'll just tag on to what Mr. Pedro said. It is a team effort, a huge team effort, both the drought and tree mortality. And we do have a lot of community partners. We have a lot of other jurisdictional partners. Cal OES, as they were in Rimfire, has been a really great partner. Obviously, TUD extending the water line and doing their part on the tree mortality. Tuolumne County is truly leading the state in all of this, and I want to thank the two of you especially, but I also want to thank all of our partners that are out there that are making this work, because honestly, you two don't have enough hours in the day to do everything that needs to get done. So it really is really important how people come together, and tough times in Tuolumne County makes it the wonderful place it is to live and work and play. So thanks to everyone, and especially thanks to you two. And congratulations, Tracy. That's pretty special.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, bring it back to the board. I think I did do public comment. I did. Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain? 5-0. Item 10.
Can you tell me, would you repeat the motion again, the movers and the second? Because I didn't get a motion.
I didn't.
Okay, can I have a motion on item number 9?
Second.
Okay, motion by Supervisor Royce, second by Supervisor Gray. We'll do it again. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstain? 5-0. Sorry about that.
Number 10 now?
Sure, why not?
Consideration of providing staff direction on desired modifications to the draft comments regarding the Bay Delta Phase 1 substitute environmental document.
Good morning, Mr. Chair.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, and board members. Liz Peterson, County Administrator's Office. In September, the State Water Resources Control Board released their proposed updates which had been long anticipated, for their 2006 Water Quality Control Plan and the Bay Delta Phase 1 plan, as well as the substitute environmental document for this Phase 1. Phase 1 incorporates proposed changes to unimpaired water flows in the San Joaquin River and its tributaries, Merced, Tuolumne, and Stanislaus. The short, very short, condensed version of the SED is that the state is proposing 40% unimpaired flows, or rather a range of 30 to 50% unimpaired flows from February through June in these three tributaries. So we have worked extensively. Well, I should say, too, the state is proposing these unimpaired flows for fish health and habitat. So myself, I've worked a lot with our water consultant, John Mills, and we've talked about this at the Water Policy Policy Advisory Committee meeting. And so I have before you some draft comments that I'm looking for some direction and any desired modifications that you may have to these comments, just to point out some of the main, or to highlight some of the main issues or concerns that we anticipate this SED, the consequences of the SED for our county, for Tuolumne River and Stanislaus River. We think that this could impact our economy pretty dramatically as far as recreation goes. The availability of water, it could be very dramatic, especially because if we see the decreased snowpack like we have been, there's just not a lot of water flow available, or not as much as maybe there has been in the past. And so this is not, when I've participated in the webcasted public hearings, viewed them, I shouldn't say participated, but there's a lot of discussion from the Central Valley. They are the main, participators, I guess, in this SED whole discussion and changes, and it seems to be a discussion of the agriculture community versus the fisheries community, or industries, I should say, agriculture industry and fishing industry. And for us as Tuolumne County, it's a much larger, from my perspective, it's a much larger issue than just those two industries. I mean, we're talking about our economy because we're so heavily reliant on tourism, specifically recreation, specifically water recreation. So that's addressed in here. I also want to mention that staff at the State Water Resources Control Board, they talk about the unimpaired flows and how to mitigate some of the loss of that water is to increase wells, increase our drilling in our wells. And as you can see in our comments, we talk about the unreliability of our groundwater basin, and I mention, the number of dry wells that we have seen in the county and how they continue to increase, and groundwater is just not a reliable water source for our county. So it's just not really a very reliable or realistic option. So those are a few of the main components of our draft comments here. So I'm just looking for some input. And I want to mention, too, that originally in the memo there it says that comments are due January 17th. Well, over the Christmas break, they decided to extend the comment period, so they're actually due March 17th now at noon. So I won't be back until the March 7th meeting with the final comments. So we've got a little time, but I just wanted to bring this to you today.
Okay, I think it's a good initial cut at it. Supervisor Hanbelt and I actually went down and testified at the one that was held in Merced, the public hearing that was held in Merced. There's the valley, as Liz very appropriately commented, there's a lot of valley interest in this. And honestly, the staff, of the water board staff admitted in their presentation that they were taking this approach of unimpaired flows because that was the only thing that they can control, and they actually admitted that it wouldn't do the job to begin with, and it wasn't even the best way to do the job, but that was the only way that they could do it legally. So I think that was thrown out, the SED was thrown out there as a mark in the sand for people to take shots at, and the governor subsequently came out with a I don't know what to call it, a proposal or a direction that they pursue individual bargains or agreements with individual water purveyors in order to get to the solution that they really want to get to. So I don't think this is necessarily a closed issue. The concern that I have is that we're going to get dwarfed in the agreements because the valley water purveyors are providing water to a much larger agricultural segment than we are, a much larger domestic population consumption segment than we are. They have, quite frankly, more money in many cases than we do. And they're going to be seeking these individual agreements with the state for their own benefits, and we're going to kind of get left out. And as Liz very appropriately pointed out, a big piece of this is our recreation economy. Supervisor Hanvelt and I both pointed out, I forget what was it, 1.1 million people come through Oakdale every year or something like that, headed up the hill. 9 million people, okay. I was way underestimating it. A huge number of people come up this hill, and we know from surveys that we conduct that 80 to 85% of those people come for water-based recreation. And if we don't have water, they're probably not going to come as frequently or if ever. So recreation needs to be a really big piece of it. I think that if we can put a big exclamation point on that. But we also have an ag community that is underserved, and what will happen if the unimpaired flows aren't sufficient, or some agreements get reached in the valley that don't consider the foothills, is they'll require more unimpaired flows out of some of the uphill reservoirs to fill Maloney's so that they can feed the valley. So those are the two things that I think that we really need to be focusing on. Supervisor Brennan.
I would just add that I don't want to lose sight of the nexus between our foothill. We talk about agriculture. A number of those ranchers, well, basically, if we look at any of our foothill ranches, they either go to the mountains or they go to the valley. And when they're in the valley, they are also on irrigated lands. And so the health of the foothills is really dependent on the ability to move those cattle. And they go both directions, east and west, in large numbers. And so we can't lose sight of that nexus.
Supervisor Gray.
Yes, talking about the recreation aspect, looking at New Maloney's, maybe there's some way to quantify what an empty Maloney's costs Tuolumne County. I know there was some studies done when New Maloney's was built, and maybe you can add, some expanders on those dollars amounts and come up with a figure of it. Going to do this during the report session, but last Friday I was able to tour the fish hatchery again and look at the new filtration system that has been put in, paid for by Hatch Hetchy and put in by Fish and Game. We know that the fishing industry is a $6 million plus industry in Tuolumne County. Without the water to raise those fish in in moccasin that severely impact our recreational fishing. So it's, you know, it's just all tied together, and we have to have the water available up here in order to do those things. That's all I got.
Supervisor Handel.
Yeah, just a couple more comments that the staff and the commissioners made during the hearing that we went to in Stockton. By the way, there were additional hearings the following week, and that's important too, because we know other people went and testified there. But a couple of comments I made was they wanted to. One of the issues was improving salinity in the delta. Well, you know, there's lots of issues associated with why the salinity increases in the delta, and the twin tunnels don't impact that. We didn't talk about twin tunnels. No one talked about twin tunnels very much. And the other one was the support of the fish. Over the weekend, between the time Supervisor Rotifer and I went, there was a bill passed and signed. It had been passed, but it was signed by the president, which says basically that they can count hatchery fish too. And where we were talking a few thousand fish, now we're talking the hatcheries dump 37 to 42 million salmon into the streams, creeks, and rivers to go out to sea, and you count those. So the game changed a little bit there, and I don't know how much impact that'll have, but those arguments need to be made. And the root cause of the salinity problem in the delta is truthfully, this is taboo to say this, I know, but I'm going to say it anyway, is that we ship so much water to Southern California, and we allow continued growth down there. And my view of that is someplace you got to stop that. I'm not saying stop sending water to Southern California. I'm saying you got to stop the increased demand, and by that, Southern California is going to have to start generating water. And the only source I can think of for that is desal, but they need to do something down there so that we can maintain our economies and the environment that we have here as well. Can't be just a one-sided equation.
Okay. The only other comment that I have that you might want to try and incorporate is the issue with the wells and increased well drilling. Really is a valley issue. I don't think that they anticipated that comment to apply to the foothills and everything. But that flies in the face of the Sustainable Groundwater Management Act, which the same water board is responsible for, okay? You can't increase drilling in the valley and without, dare I say, drain the swamp, okay, in the groundwater. So all they're doing is forcing people in the valley to increase the overdraft situation. We really do need, and I do believe that I don't want to quit sending water, well, maybe I do, but I don't think we can quit sending water south to LA, but scheduling is an issue, okay? That time, that springtime flow pattern, if they can take their water later in the year and not require us for salinity purposes then in the springtime to have these increased unimpaired flows to maintain the salinity, that's another possibility, okay? And I'm not a water expert, but I just think that they're putting out overly simplistic solutions in this SED, and they haven't really thought through the whole water picture.
Yeah, and so just having said, going off of that, that's kind of our main perspective or our main request, is that they consider Tuolumne County and upstream counties in general, but obviously Tuolumne County specifically, the economic impacts and other issues into the SED, which they haven't, it appears, done.
And phase one is just the start. I hope people in the more northern part of California are watching, because phase two is going after the Sacramento River, and they're going to have the same issues with Shasta and all of the uphill, all the rim reservoirs that we're facing right now. This is like experimental phase here. So I truly do believe that this is a red herring to try and get to a more holistic solution, but I want to make sure it is. I don't want to be left out in the cold on this. So, Supervisor Brennan.
Have we been in contact with Amador or Calaveras counties to see if there would be a joint letter effort?
We haven't, no.
We will.
Okay. Sure.
Okay. That's all I can say. Public input, public comment. Okay, bring it back to the board. Supervisor Handbelt. Oh, we're not. No motion.
Yeah,
you have the direction you
I
need.
do, yes, thank you very much.
Okay.
everyone.
Thank you for the presentation.
Yes, absolutely.
I've been asked to take a 10-minute break, so I'm going to do that. So we'll adjourn for 10 minutes, and we'll be back at 05. Supervisor Handbelt. Okay, I'm going to reconvene. Pardon me. I'm going to reconvene the Board of Supervisors meeting, and will the clerk of the board please read item number 11?
Consideration of approving correspondence commenting on the Rural County Representatives of California Draft 2017 Policy Principles.
Okay.
Good morning, Mr.
You're back,
Chair
Liz.
and board members. Liz Peterson in County Administrator's Office. So you may recall from last year, but just as a refresher here, RCRC, or Rural County Representatives of California, puts out draft policy principles, and these are the principles that guide their legislative and regulatory advocacy efforts for the year. And it's about 70 pages or so of various topics. And so we here, or I distributed the policy principles to our department heads here at the county, requesting that they read their specific topics that are relevant to them, and requested that they provide input. And then we, as you can see in attachment B, of who we received input from and who reviewed the draft policy principles. And then in attachment C, there is the comments from our department heads, requesting that they either add additional paragraphs or make changes, or that we support certain policies that RCRC is proposing. So I'm just looking for your approval of the comments there.
Supervisor Handbelt, did you have any comments as our RCRC rep? Mike.
Just got a mic. I have a few comments. I'm going to get down to them. The letter's last. That makes it really hard to get to on 77 pages. I'm at 30. Anyway, one of the concerns I had about this was that Sarah Bolnick said she already got comments from us. I don't know what that source was. But when I talked to her over the weekend, I said, where are my comments going? What page is it? 74. Yeah, one of the comments I had was when we talked about biomass. We did not include the comment that biomass also helps recovery from wildland fire, which there's been a terrific amount of. And I think we could add a little
Okay.
comment to that.
And they do mention that, actually, I believe, in their comments already.
Well,
In their general comments, so that's
Oh.
why we didn't add anything to ours.
and let's see.
But I'm happy to highlight that if you'd like.
And I know, but it's always good to emphasize
Sure,
those things. And the other one is we're talking infrastructure about affordable housing, and we talked about rental housing. But we need, there are systemic obstacles in the state of California, and I believe in counties and cities, to building affordable housing, and that is a big issue for me. And I think we could emphasize that a little stronger. I think I sent you those comments. I think one of the issues with where we talk about wildlife services and things like that, I think that what we have is we have a situation where we have state largely controlled by urban people that don't understand our rural issues, and I think we ought to push for local control of wildlife services, wildlife management issues. And I think those are the three comments I had. But I would like to add that we continue to have a fair issue, and we didn't comment on that. And I don't know, maybe Supervisor Brennan would like to talk about that.
Supervisor Brennan, would you like to talk about that?
Yeah, I just made a note, and in the document, they do talk briefly about fairs and the importance of fairs, and I think it would be, we continue to get letters from constituents with concern, and for the state to recognize the need to work with local governments in finding solutions. And then I just had one other comment on the housing piece that Supervisor Hanfeld mentioned, and it really is with recognition with where the entire state is. And again, at CSAC, there were some really good sessions on this. We need to move away from talking about affordable housing to how we make housing affordable. And I think some recognition of that statement would be valuable.
I'd like to tag on that. Okay, I believe that California has basically regulated itself out of the ability
That's right.
to build affordable housing. Okay, we need to look at our regulatory architecture and what it has done to the cost to build a home. I have no idea what putting sprinklers in homes costs. But if you talk to the insurance companies, more damage is done from sprinklers that malfunction than is saved by having sprinklers in homes. That's just an example. I'm not smart enough to know what all of them are, but we have basically regulated our housing industry such that unless there is government subsidies to building, and that's generally in the very low end, or people just overpower the regulations with personal wealth on the high end. That middle band where there is no government subsidies, but there still is all that government regulation that makes the affordable housing for people that don't have some amount of personal wealth, it just makes building those houses unaffordable. Mm-hmm. So I think that we need to address our regulatory architecture and what it's a wonderful experiment, making houses safer and safer and safer, and I support all of that stuff. But when you pile regulation on top of regulation on top of regulation, and each one of those brings an added cost. Eventually, you price yourself out of the market, and that's basically what we've done in the state of California. By our contractor. Any public comment? You got some ideas for some additions, deletions, corrections, whatever? Okay. Can we approve it with, since Supervisor Hanvelt made the bulk of the recommendations, can we approve the letter pending you two working together to get the words right?
Sure. Just so you know, the comments are due tomorrow.
I know that.
Great.
Okay. Okay.
Perfect.
Supervisor Hanvelt has his homework. Okay. So I'm looking for a motion.
So moved.
Okay. I've got a motion by Supervisor Brennan. Second by Supervisor Hanvelt. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained? 5-0. Okay. Please read item number 12.
Consideration of approving amendment number 6 to the Lake Tulloch RV Campground and Marina Agreement, which extends the time of the contract.
Mr. Richardson.
Good morning.
Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year. Daniel Richardson, Deputy County Administrator. As I sat on Colorado Boulevard yesterday about this morning, I sat there and there came the backcountry horsemen of California, from Sonora, California. It was great. It was a proud moment for us, those of us from Tuolumne County. I was just reminded once again the importance of tourism and of maintaining these robust organizations that support tourism in this community. One of those is down at Lake Tulloch, the South Shore Marina Campground, and we, the county, run that through a lease with the Department of Conservation. And so we have an amendment that we're proposing to come before you today that would extend the current agreement with our concessionaire by 6 years and 2 months. This would allow the agreement that we have with the state and the agreement that we have with our concessionaire to terminate on the same date, which would be beneficial to us to attract another concessionaire or another concessionaire agreement that would be most favorable to the county. And so this is an extension. In exchange for this 6-year and 2-month extension, the county would receive $140,000 worth of improvements that would improve the road system, add electrical outlets, and pretty much those are the main deficiencies, in my opinion, that need to be brought up to par out at the marina. If you haven't had a chance to go visit it, it's come a long ways over the years. When I first came to Tuolumne County, the county was receiving less than $40,000 in revenue. In their current budget, there's $160,000 in revenue from Lake Tulloch, the concession. So we're doing very well out there. So this agreement is contingent on receipt of state approval of this agreement. I have not yet received a letter from them approving of this contract extension. They have always approved everything I have sent to them because it's been of sufficient quality that they would want to approve it. I do not foresee them saying no to this request, but I've worked with County Council, and we feel this is okay that you consider approving this at this time, and we will wait for their letter.
Okay. Public comment? Bring it back to the board.
Just to comment, you're right, there has been a great improvement than what it was 8 years ago when I first visited down there. They've done a pretty good job of cleaning things up and upgrading things. And I know it's not my district, but every once in a while I like to visit other places too.
You're welcome in my district anytime, John.
So, but anyway, good work and working with those. I haven't heard of any problems down there.
He's a great concessionaire, works well at the sheriff's office, the boat patrol.
All right, thanks.
So, okay, I'll make the motion that we approve the amendment number 6 to the Lake Tulloch agreement.
As a visitor, I'll second that motion.
Okay. Motion by the chair, Supervisor Rodofer, and seconded by our most esteemed visitor, Supervisor Gray. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstain? 5-0. Please read item number 13.
Consideration of setting January 12th and 13th, 2017 as the dates for the Board of Supervisors 2017 Planning Retreat.
Mr. Pedro.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, your board has mentioned several times how much you enjoy these annual retreats with yourselves, your management staff of the county. We've talked about the upcoming retreat this year. I've talked about the dates of January 12th and 13th, and that needs to be formally approved to establish those as the dates of your board's planning retreat for 2017. I've also passed down the dais, as we've done in the past, as far as an agenda development. You've had opportunity to meet with or discuss individually with Bill Chiat, our retreat facilitator, your thoughts and ideas of what you'd like to see out of the retreat, participation just amongst yourselves with your department directors and so forth. And so what I've passed down is the high-level agenda that's been put together by Mr. Chiat. I did have opportunity to review it, with incoming chair for 2017, Sherry Brennan, and would present this as your proposed agenda for that meeting. In general, the first part of the 12th, the early morning session, is an opportunity for your board to talk about your progress on, and vision amongst yourselves of the county and your how you operate as a board. Department directors then will join and be able to talk about achievements amongst of the departments, what's been done as far as responding to the board goals coming out of last year's retreat, and then be able to hear from your departments on what are the biggest opportunities that they're facing, what are some threats and risks that they're looking at, and also what resources might they need in order to best respond and take advantage of opportunities or to address some of the risks that they face. And that would be a good part of the day, the afternoon, with your department directors on the 12th, and ending that with some kind of a joint discussion of some of the priorities that your department directors and yourselves would see and what coming out of what they've shared with you. On the 13th, that would just be a morning session, primarily with your board, to reflect on the county's vision and values, discuss some of the county's strategic priorities, and again, how best to work together as a governing unit. So in general, that's the theme and pace of the proposed agenda, put together by Mr. Chiat with individual input from your board. If there's any comment or further direction with respect to that agenda, we can certainly adjust that. But that's what's been prepared and presented for your consideration. So really looking forward, the formal action would be to a motion to establish January 12 and 13 as the dates for the board's 2017 planning retreat. And then if there's any additional direction on the agenda, we can take that separately.
Okay, public comment? Bring it back to the board.
I'll move approval of our board retreat being January 12th and 13th, 2017.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion by Supervisor Brennan and a second by Supervisor Gray. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained? 5-0. Anyone have any additional comments, additions, deletions, corrections, recommendations, or anything for the proposed agenda? You need anything else?
That's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Will the clerk please read item 14?
Reports.
Okay. I'll start with Supervisor Gray.
All right. First of all, our Tesla charging station in Groveland.
It's working.
And it's being used. I stopped there the other day and talked to a couple that were charging their car.
Was there a waiting line?
I was in line. I had my Tesla right there. Yeah, right. Good comments from them. They had plugged in their car and they're getting ready. They were going to walk downtown, have lunch, and come back, and looking forward to a fully charged car when they got back. They'd been waiting for this for a long time. They've been afraid to take their Tesla to Yosemite because they weren't sure whether they're going to get back or not. So, and the other thing that they did add, that it allows them to take their Tesla to Las Vegas over 120, because in Tonopah there's another Tesla charging station, so they can charge up in Groveland, have breakfast, and have lunch in Tonopah. So it's a good thing. I'm glad to see it's happening. The other thing, I touched on it briefly, was the fish hatchery. 6 years ago, we were dealing with a real problem of the fish hatchery actually getting closed during a tunnel shutdown. Now, right now we have the tunnel is shut down, the Hetchy Tunnel, for 2 months, and the hatchery could not raise a season's worth of fish with a 2-month shutdown. So there was a lot of meetings conducted, a lot of no's and a few yeses, but I have to say that Hetchy really stepped up. They paid for the filtering system, and essentially what the system does is it takes about 3 acre-feet of water from the existing moccasin pond, and it goes through the hatchery, and it's reused, filtered, reused, filtered. So it's a water-saving feature. They don't know if it's going to work yet or not, but they have high hopes. But anyway, everybody's excited that we're going to have fish. I think it would be a really good, interesting a story to write. Justin at the fish hatchery, he's all prepped, and but certainly it's something that sometimes you get involved in these things and you don't think you're going to get anywhere, and then it happens. It's a really good feeling. So that's my report.
Okay. Supervisor Royce? No report. Supervisor Hanvelt?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We already kind of reported on the big item when we went to the State Water Board, so I haven't got anything else to report.
Okay. Supervisor Brennan?
No report.
My only report is to correct, Supervisor Hanvelt spoke correctly, I did not. We went to the Stockton meeting, not the Modesto meeting. Okay. Clerk? County Council? Mr. Pedro.
One item, Mr. Chair, and I think you're aware of it. For the rest of the board and the public, our Veteran Service Officer, Eric Larson, has tendered his resignation. He's been doing this for years for minimal, compensation. It's an important position that we must, have in the county. I've spoken with, Chairman Rotifer about it. He also chairs the Veterans Committee. And we're going to come back to your board probably the next meeting talking about a part-time position, stepping this up a little bit, looking to the future, and get some approval from this board so we can move forward with the recruitment. I just want to mention that it's been interesting to watch that position over the years. When I first came on, it was a shared full-time position between Office of Emergency Services and Veteran Services. Interestingly enough, since I spoke with Carl last about it, I ran into him down at the park during the Pop Hudson Sing, Bob Lewis, and had a great little visit and chat about what it was like in those days. And then Cliff White, our longtime Human Service Agency director, who was a veteran as well, he probably had brought the best package because it tied in well with the Human Service Agency, and Cliff had a passion, for it. As memory serves, then at that point it went on to Lee Sanford, one-time assistant sheriff, I think was his title at the time, then switched to undersheriff, and then now to Mr. Larson, who was our former human resource director, again a veteran. So it's an interesting position. It's another one of these things. How do you best address the needs of that kind of a position? And particularly in small counties, it's done every which way. We have a great staff that's there, and we don't want to do anything but support them as we look to recruit this position. The position is appointed by your board, yet overseen through the Human Services Agency. So I'm just bringing that to your attention. We don't do this that often, but we're going to try a different approach to attract someone of quality that will support the quality staff that we have and continue the good track record we have in serving our veteran community.
I'll just add a comment to that, and that is that the approach that Mr. Pedro just outlined will go a long way, I think, to making that office even more productive, because it'll free up some of the supervisorial budget kinds of things that they're currently doing, and allow them to focus more on their customers. And I wholeheartely encourage what he's talking about. So I think I had everybody. Okay, we have an 11 o'clock appointment, so we are going to adjourn until 11 o'clock, and we'll be back. Okay, 11 o'clock, I'm reconvening the Board of Supervisors for our 11 o'clock. Will the clerk please read our 11 o'clock appointment?
This is closed session, conference with labor negotiators, Craig Pedro and Ann Friend, Authority Government Code Section 54957.6, all bargaining units, and conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Authority Government Code Section 54956.9D1, Mark Kurzik versus County of Tuolumne, United States District Court, Eastern District of California, case number 116 CV 01116 DAD SAB, and conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, Authority Government Code Section 54956.9 D2, 3 cases.
Okay, any public comment on the closed session? If not, we will now adjourn into closed session. We do not expect to report out. Board of Supervisors is back in session. We covered item A in our 11 o'clock closed session. We have nothing to report. B and C were deferred until later this afternoon. Will the clerk of the board please read our 12 o'clock number 1?
This is a swearing in of elected officials.
Ms. Batista.
Good afternoon. My name is Debbie Batista, and I am the county clerk and auditor controller. And it's my great honor to certify that on June 7th, that Supervisor Brennan, Supervisor Rutherford, and Supervisor Gray were all reelected to their position as supervisor from District 1, District 5, and District 4. And it's my great pleasure to bring up His Honor, Judge Donald Segerstrom, to swear you all in. So if you 3 will come down here, he will do that.
Being the only one left.
Good to see you. John?
Is this power? What is this?
Where do you guys want to be? You want to be right here?
Why not?
All right. I would have brought over my bailiff, but I probably shouldn't talk with my back to the camera. I would have brought over my bailiff and done a formal opening, but there's about 50 people in my courtroom all waiting for their trial settings, and I've got to go back over there and do that, and I didn't want to leave them unattended. So we'll make this short, brief. Congratulations to all of you, and congratulations to the people of Tuolumne County. I think they made really good decisions in re-electing you for another term, so congratulations. If you will all raise your right hands and repeat after me. I. Say your name, please.
Sherry Brennan.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend.
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States.
the Constitution of the United States
And the Constitution of the State of California.
and the Constitution of the State of California
Against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic.
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm going to.
Here's your certificate of election, but I will be bringing you some really nice ones later. About an hour. There's yours, John, and congratulations. I'd actually take a hug because I'm Italian and it doesn't matter. Carl, here's yours, and I'll take a hug. There you go. Congratulations, and Sherry, here's yours, and I'll take a hug too. Congratulations. And then I'll get your guys' signature later.
I have signed the oaths of office for all three. Again, my most sincere congratulations to all of you. I know you will do a fantastic job on behalf of the citizens of Tuolumne County. So thank you very much for inviting me. It's always my honor to come appear in front of you. And I actually have to go back and continue with, we're still in session in court, so I've got a lot of people waiting for me. So, but thank you very much.
Thank you for coming, and thank you for honoring us with your presence.
My honor. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you, and I'll take a hug.
Okay. Would you read item number 2 out of our 12 o'clock?
This is the election of the chair and the vice chair of the Tuolumne County Board of Supervisors for the year 2017. And at this time, I will be taking nominations for the chair position for 2017. Does anybody have a nomination?
Yes, I would like to nominate Sherry Brennan.
I'll second that.
That's a motion.
Yes.
Okay, do we have any public comment on that motion? No public comment. Sorry, I can't see everybody. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Abstain? Carries unanimously. Congratulations, Sherry. And now I will take... Actually, it's a 4-0 with Supervisor Royce being absent. Now I will take nominations for the vice chair.
I nominate Supervisor Handbelt.
Second.
Do we have any other nominations? Any public comment? This is a motion by Supervisor Roderfer, second by Sherry Brennan. And all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Abstain? Carries 4-0. Now I would like to do the commemorative gavel for Chairman Roderfer. Thank you so much for your service.
Ex-chairman, thank you.
Ex-chairman. He did a really good job for 2016, and it's hard doing this standing up or sitting down. And then Sherry Brennan, congratulations for 2017. Here's the gavel for that.
Thank you.
And Sherry, you get to take over the meeting now.
So, I just want to thank you, Carl, for your year of service. You did an amazing job. We do a lot of really good things in Tuolumne County, and I know we all appreciated your leadership. And I'm looking forward to 2017. Anything else?
I'd just like to wish you very well. Good luck with it. You'll enjoy it.
Thank you.
So, Carl, a little load off the shoulders? That's the way I felt.
A ton?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you for the hard work.
With that, we will stand adjourned until 1:30.
We do have some light refreshments outside, too.
Okay, but I need 3 signatures.
Yeah.
All right.
You should have done that before.
It is 1:30, and we will reconvene. Clerk, can you please read our first 1:30 item?
This is a presentation of the chair's appointment to the Board of Supervisors, committees, and commissions for 2017.
And this was emailed around to all of the supervisors, and I didn't receive any correspondence back. And
Would it have mattered?
I am always available for discussion. Would it have changed? I'm not sure. So,
Madam Chair, I'm totally okay with that, but I do think that we need to look at the schedule overall to see if there's any conflicting dates and hours that might
Yes.
make it so that we'd have to maybe get the other committees to reschedule their times or something like that.
Yeah.
right, and I agree. I have one conflict already. So can you prepare that and email that around? All right. Thank you.
I was being facetious. Mine are fine.
All right. This doesn't require an action, so will you please read our second 1:30? Is there any public comment on the committees and?
Okay. One question.
Sure.
I'm sure it'll come up a lot today. The Marijuana Ad Hoc Committee, chaired by yourself and Royce. Will that
So
be
that
convening
is
soon?
That is the next agenda item, and so we will be discussing
Okay,
that.
thank you.
So
Thank
this
you
is
for asking.
this is a public hearing to consider adopting an ordinance amending Chapter 17.67 of the Tuolumne County Ordinance Code.
Staff report.
Thank you, Deputy County Counsel Carlin Drivdahl. On November 15th, County Counsel Sarah Correa and I presented the recently passed Adult Use of Marijuana Act to your board. The AUMA authorizes adults 21 and over to legally consume, possess, sell, transport, and cultivate marijuana for recreational use. The AUMA creates a comprehensive state regulatory licensing system for non-medical marijuana similar to that created by the Medical Cannabis Regulation and Safety Act. So we'll be talking about the AUMA and MRCURSA, for lack of a better acronym. The state agencies designated by the AUMA and MRCURSA are working on regulations to implement both acts with a target of January 1st, 2018 to begin issuing licenses for commercial marijuana activities. Under the AUMA, local governments retain the ability to regulate but not completely ban personal cultivation and regulate or completely ban commercial marijuana activities. Commercial cultivation of medical marijuana is prohibited under Chapter 17.67, which is adopted last February. Other forms of commercial marijuana activities, both medical and recreational, are prohibited in Tuolumne County under the principles of permissive zoning. The principles of permissive zoning is the legal interpretation of zoning codes, which in essence states, if a use is not listed, it is not allowed. MRCURSA expressly identified the principles of permissive zoning as a pathway for local regulation and control. Given that the AUMA does not similarly call out the principles of permissive zoning, your board directed staff to draft an express ban on commercial marijuana activities. This express ban would not alter the current state of the law in Tuolumne County, but will provide clarity for the public, state agencies, and county staff. Such a ban would be in place until such time as the board's marijuana working group is convened and develops recommended commercial regulations acceptable to your board. If the county adopts regulations allowing commercial marijuana activities under both MRCURSA and the AUMA, the county's regulations must be as strict or stricter than the state's regulations. We do not anticipate knowing the extent of the state's regulations until sometime in 2018. To be clear, the proposed ordinance before you covers the commercial activities for both recreational and medical marijuana. On December 21st, the Tuolumne County Planning Commission conducted a public hearing on the proposed ban on commercial marijuana activities. The commission heard from 10 individuals in favor of the ban and 4 individuals in opposition. The majority of the comments in favor viewed this ban as a starting point to ensure everyone is on the same page. These commenters requested the board's marijuana working group be appointed and convened as soon as possible to begin working on locally acceptable regulations for commercial marijuana activities. Commenters also requested the ban contain a sunset date to encourage speedy action by the working group and your board. To clarify, the proposed ban before your board expressly states the current law in Tuolumne County. If a sunset date were included in the proposed ordinance, upon that date, the ban would still be in place through the principles of permissive zoning, but it would be even more confusing to explain and, if needed, litigate. Those who commented in opposition basically wanted to skip the express ban and go straight into the marijuana working group. After much deliberation, the Planning Commission voted 4-2 to recommend adoption of the express ban to your board. The common thread through all of the discussion at the Planning Commission meeting was that it was time to get the marijuana working group going. I want to be clear that this ordinance is the beginning of the process. Supervisors Brennan and Royce, as your marijuana ad hoc committee, will be meeting with our office next week to discuss personal cultivation regulations and the composition of the marijuana working group, given the need to include recreational aspects under the AUMA. We anticipate bringing the marijuana working group item back to your board in the near future. Your board did receive an email from Lauren Hurley this morning providing her comments advocating for a regulatory structure and the commencement of the working group. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions for your board.
Any questions of staff? All right.
I do have a question. I'm just concerned about how we enforce this and whether there's any residual ambiguity between medical marijuana and recreational use.
Well, this would be a change to your zoning ordinance, so it would be enforced through code compliance based on complaints received and code compliance's workload. That is how it would be enforced. In terms of differentiating between medical and recreational marijuana, the way the ban is drafted, it applies to any commercial activity which would require a state license under either MCRSA or the AUMA. So it covers both.
Okay.
So, I do have a question. So just to clarify, by implementing this ordinance, it would preclude someone from getting a state license for commercial grows in the county until such time as we completed the rest of the process.
Under MCRSA, in order to get a state license, you have to show the state that you have whatever license or approval you need from your local entity.
Okay.
So that's how that would be covered on that side. Under the AUMA, there's not that dual licensing requirement. However, the state can't issue a license if it is prohibited in the local jurisdiction. It's a little bit backward.
Okay, just wanted to clarify. Thanks.
All right, this is a public hearing. Can I see a show of hands of how many people plan on speaking? Can you raise them high for me, just so I can get a count? 3. All right. So I think that we could set a 4-minute time on those comments. And with that, I just want to briefly explain the process for the hearing. First, we'll hear from those in favor of the proposed ban, then those that are opposed to the ban, then those who wish to speak neutrally. After any neutral comments, anyone who spoke in favor may speak in rebuttal. You must have spoken in favor to speak in rebuttal. Then those who spoke in opposition may respond with rebuttal. And again, please remember that in order to speak during rebuttal or rebuttal, you need to have made comments in favor or against. If no one speaks during rebuttal, there is no rebuttal. All right, with that, the public hearing is open, and I'd like to have anyone that would like to speak in favor of the proposed ban. come up and speak. All right, seeing no one. Second request. All right, is there anyone who would wish to speak in opposition of the opposed band?
Hi. Hi, my name is Sarah Herron. I'm a Tuolumne County resident. I'm not really against, I'm not against a commercial ban at this point. What I really want to say is that I really would like to see the committee, the marijuana committee, come to fruition, which it's been probably over a year and a half since it's been ordered. I still want to say that I'm not sure that people are really understanding that there are patients involved here. I'm not really sure. I don't hear much about patients anymore. That's bothersome for me as a nurse and as a person that wants people to be healthy and safe in our community. I want to again say that there is a component to this that's medicine that people need to remember, that people need. People that are in federal housing cannot grow marijuana in their house. Growing marijuana in your home is a huge issue as far as I'm concerned. It's electricity, it's blocking off a room, it's having all kinds of bugs possibly in your house and things like that. So I'm against only indoor growing. I really think that this county's big enough to be able to handle some outdoor grows, especially if they're not commercial. If we can still have our 6 to 12 plants outdoors, that would be really nice.
Are there any other comments in opposition? Right, are there any comments that are new? Oh.
Hello, my name's Jesse Kraft. I wasn't going to speak, but I decided I might as well. I did vote in favor of it at the Planning Commission meeting, just to kind of speed things up, get everybody on the same playing field. And I'd really like to see the ad hoc committee or working group get together very soon. Us as farmers will miss priority licensing ability if we can't get some type of local approval or acceptance. And once we miss that, it'll make it a little more difficult when it comes to applying for the state, if that time ever comes. So I just really would hope to see you guys put it together very soon. I'm eagerly waiting. I speak on behalf of about 8 other farmers. We'd like to operate a very compliant, forthcoming, transparent business, and we think it'd be good for the community. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Craig Walker, 17-year resident here in Tuolumne. And to reiterate what he had just said, we are in a time frame where if we don't get this together, the allotted licenses from the state may be gone by the time we get around to acting on this. It's really of a time-sensitive nature, and we know how slow things can move here in Tuolumne County. So I'm in support of the ad hoc group. So please, let's see if we can't put that together and get something comprehensively going forward.
Thank you. Is there anyone that would like to speak neutrally?
Good afternoon. Kara Tucker, Director of TCA, Tuolumne Cannabis Advocates. I have a finger on the pulse of cannabis policy development throughout the state and another finger in the hole in the dam, patiently holding back the local pressure which you've heard from, for local action on local policy. I simply don't have the time or energy to finger point about the obvious inaction that has persisted for the last year. Rather, I want to share with you a solution I have loosely outlined on these pages circulating the room. I would like to propose a multi-phase rollout of cannabis ordinances or revisions of same ordinance. This process would prioritize the basic business structures needed for simple seed to sale with 5 main classes of licenses and relative sub-licenses immediately in phase 1. Allow for graduated process into larger business models through addition of license types as commissions are gathered and research is evaluated to allow for growth of the industry and consequently the entire county economy in phase 2. This would harmonize the personal grow limits between medical and recreational without any appearance of political backsliding on status quo or against the state and local voting majorities. It would immediately bring in license application fees to fund the rollout of the whole program and later bring in revenue from sales tax collected at retail locations. It would require proper control, packaging, and labeling of cannabis products to protect children. It would get local law enforcement and youth education projects in the running for more earmarked funding by the state. It would incentivize cannabis business owners to invest in Tuolumne County rather than seek legitimacy by relocating to a regulating county. And we can do this by offering the structuring and licensing available locally ASAP that then would get them in the running for state licensing in 2018. And I can run down phase 1 just briefly if you don't have a paper in the crowd. Phase 1 would allow type 4 nurseries. Nurseries would maintain a supply library of genetics to farmers and consumers. This would free up farmers to focus on cultivating, give safe access, better strain awareness, and bring high-quality plants and clones to patients and consumers alike. Type 10A is dispensary limit of 3 for the county. Dispensaries operating in certain restricted zoning areas would give safe, moderated access to patients and consumers who are currently disenfranchised by their disabilities, property location, landlord control, lack of safe cultivation knowledge, economic status, or anything else that keeps them from having a garden to grow their own medicine. Type 11 is distribution, which is essential for the flow of any business and is supported already by track and trace programs. Type 6 manufacturing is non-volatile solvent manufacturing of concentrates. This would provide a spectrum of safe and healthier medicinal cannabis products to the public other than raw cannabis for smoking. It is known that the future of safe cannabis products is in cannabis concentrate manufacturing. And then all types of commercial cultivation licenses, type 1 through 2B, indoor, outdoor, and mixed light. This would allow for expansion of current business models with the capital to participate in a competitive market, and specifically in those types, type 1C cottage cultivation. This will help segue the current maximum cannabis cultivation metric of 24 plants per parcel to commercial requirements by square footage with zoning considerations to best maintain the current status quo of the ordinance as it is. And finally, phase 1 would harmonize personal grow limits for medical, recreational to 6 plants as a suggestion, indoors or outdoors, depending on current location, zoning, and setback requirements. Within the incorporated area of Sonora, 6 plants indoors for personal use must be allowed according to state law. But it is all imperative, and I think this is understood, that commercial licensing roll out before altering the status quo. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I have a question. You talk about a little bit about zoning. Do you have a recommendation on what zoning areas that you would see these commercial grows in? And how big would you envision them being?
That's a very specific question. I've been reviewing Sonoma County's current ordinance that was just passed around Christmas time. And they have a beautiful infographic breakdown of where appropriate license types should exist. This would have a lot to do with the percentage of land used for particular zoning areas in our county, I think. Most of our county is public land. That is known. But the areas where people are cultivating, that's a poll that I would like to facilitate happening through TCA. Find out, are you rural residential? Are you ag reserve? Are you real estate residential, minimum 2 acres. Where are people growing? So that if we do roll out something, even just cottage cultivation, to maintain the status quo of about 2,500 square feet in canopy, that hopefully no one is left out. But those are all studies that I'm happy to bring all the information to the ad hoc committee, if on it or in public comment.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak neutrally?
I just want to say I'm a medical user, and personally, I think it's a good thing to bring it in for recreational for a lot of different reasons. It just helps a lot medically in a lot of ways. But I think that it should be kept, the medical and recreation should be kept separate issues. Because in medical, some medical users need more than the recreational, use of it. So that is my one thing that I wanted to say about it, okay? Thank you.
I would just like to say that I've worked in a dispensary this year, or last year, and in the dispensary we have about 5,000 patients so far. About 800 of that list are just from Tuolumne County, not to mention the other counties that haven't approved it. People go a long way to get their medication now, and they pay a lot of tax money someplace else. It would be nice if we brought it home. That's it.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak neutrally? All right. Since we had no one that spoke in favor, I'm looking to County Council. Since no one spoke in favor, then correct. We are going to close the public hearing and deliberate. John.
Question, reviewing the minutes from the Board of Supervisors, the Planning Commission, I was really not clear on the discussion on Forest Sunset. They agreed to, as I read here, they agreed that they wanted to pick a sunset date, but did they not recommend one? Is that correct?
No, the Planning Commission was not interested in applying a sunset.
Doing a sunset. They were just saying, go get it done.
They were definitely interested, though, in having the working group get started and get that work on its way.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Supervisor Rutherford.
Yeah, I got 2 points. Well, actually 3. First of all, I really want to applaud our community for taking a constructive approach to this and understanding why we want to go slow. I don't want anybody to think that going slow means to be obstructionist or anything like that. We all really have a common interest in doing what's best for the people of our county. Along with that, I am going to vote in favor of this ordinance, but in doing so, I really want to everybody to understand that I have 2 imperatives that I would like to see, and one is a very strong commitment to put together the right working group in the very near term and really get to work on coming back to us as quickly as reasonable. It's going to take time. I understand that. It's probably measured. Well, it's certainly measured in months, not weeks. But I do think it's important that we work in good faith and we get to some solution that we can, or options that we can review as a board. And the second one is, and it's been alluded to a couple of times, we delayed the formation of the ad hoc working group for some just reasons associated with the potential and actually now the fact of adult use of marijuana ballot initiative. What I don't want is, and what I would ask my colleagues on the working group to keep in mind is, as we go forth and try and deal with the adult use of marijuana, that we don't lose sight of the imperatives that are associated with the medical use, and that and I would add that I would like to see it a simple ordinance that addresses both in a similar fashion, but where there are differences, I don't want us to try and shoehorn in a solution that fits one but doesn't fit the other one. So with those kinds of objectives, that's what I would like to see in the working group. Obviously, everybody probably has their own, but I think that those are two important ones, and I will be voting in favor of it, and I'll be glad to make the motion at the appropriate time.
You think, Supervisor?
No, I guess the only thing I would just like to do to give encouragement and comfort to the people that are here that have an interest in this is we put this off because of the election, as Supervisor Rodefer said, so we're going to get on this and we're going to start seeing some action. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of, there you go.
Okay, I too am going to vote in favor of this, and I want to echo, I think, what Supervisor Rodefer said, is that I appreciate the constructive manner in which comments have been forwarded here and things. I suggest that the committee may need your help, and that by the way, thank you for this. Clearly a thought-out process, and I suggest that that's, when you submit comments to the committee, that they would appreciate these well thought out kinds of path, where we're going and what it means, what the implications are. That helps a lot. Very frankly, I now know more, not enough, than I ever thought I'd know about this subject. Never thought I'd have to know about this subject, but anyway, I appreciate the patience of that, and my view is we need to go through this systematically, methodically, and we have to get it right. So patience, and I'll rely on the committee to carry the ball for that, but I'm fully in support of this.
And I have one quick question. There's been reference to the state licensing date in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any sense of a timeline on that, and if they will look at like geographical regions, or has there been any guidance from the state on that?
No, at this point, the various state agencies that Ms. Cree and I have talked with, they are in the listening phase, trying to gather up as much information as they can, because of course they're all as well coming up to speed as quickly as possible. So there are, at this point, no draft regulations out. They're still kind of in the rulemaking phase and in the environmental document phase.
Yeah, regarding that, I was going to say something, I forgot about it. When we meet to discuss the ad hoc committee, we can talk about it in a little more depth, but I thought it may be worth reaching out to those folks and maybe give them some information on what our process and our county's direction is going to be. And
those folks, the state?
The state.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe we can find a contact there so we can coordinate with them to help assist any potential businesses that would be pursuing
Supervisor Royce, we've attended meetings and we have made that contact. In fact, we've submitted comments just explaining some of the concerns to the state agency so they can understand that one of the big issues we want to make sure that they know about is how, because local jurisdictions are going to be doing things differently, how they need to be coordinating with local jurisdictions.
Yeah.
And so we've definitely been doing that, and we'll continue to do that.
So we can follow up then.
Absolutely.
We just want to make sure the door doesn't get slammed on people here.
Correct.
So.
Supervisor Rodefer?
Yeah, one more point. I think we're forgetting one other issue associated with this, and that is we still have a constitutional issue between the state and the feds, and I think it's time that we take this up at the federal level. We've got a potential new administration coming in. I have no idea where they sit, but I really do believe that it's time that the feds owned up to. Okay, they finished my sentence for me. But it's a real conflict for us up here that have sworn to uphold and defend two constitutions when the two constitutions are in conflict. So maybe we put that on our legislative agenda at the federal level, Mr. Pedro.
Before you spoke, I was going to suggest that one of the resources the committee might use is Paul Smith from RCRC. Paul has been active in this. He's about the most knowledgeable guy I know in the political arena. He's now just taken a new job, by the way, at RCRC. He was announced as the executive vice president. They're taking Patricia Megason's place. But that won't change his involvement or knowledge of this, and I think he's a good candidate. And I also think your comment is a good one for RCRC to take up in general in terms of solving that ridiculous conflict. So I'm going to see him in about 10 days. 10
Okay.
days, so I'll bring that up to him.
And I agree with that, and I also think that we should be working through CSAC also, and to resolve this. So I'd like to also thank you for the very well thought out manner in which you have approached this issue and your patience on it. I know Supervisor Royce and I are prepared now to really dig in, if you will, and this will be front and center as we made the commitment to do once we found out what the election results were. So with that, do I have a motion?
Sure. Madam Chairman, Chairperson, I move that we adopt an ordinance amending Chapter 17.67 of the Tuolumne County Ordinance Code to expressly prohibit within the unincorporated area of Tuolumne County commercial marijuana activities that require a state license and to be issued pursuant to the Medical Cannabis Regulation and Safety Act or the Adult Use of Marijuana Act, and to declare such activities to be public nuisances.
I'll second that, assuming he got it right.
Actually,
I read it.
well, I'm just going to assume that that also included the findings listed in Section 1 of the ordinance and findings A, B, and C listed in the staff report.
My motion does include that.
I thought so. I just wanted to confirm.
Thank you for the good correction.
See, I assumed you got it right.
Yeah, I did.
So I have a first by Supervisor Rotifer, a second by Supervisor Hanfeld. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Will the clerk please read the remainder of item 11?
So I believe it's item 11 minus A, so it's B and C. So is it A and C? Just C. Okay. So closed session, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, authority government code section 549567.9 D2, 3 cases.
Do we expect to report out?